You are watching Achieving with ADHD with Dr. LaToya René. Today, I'm going to show you how I went from this idea to the finished product of a floating shelf. We have a teal background, some oak shelves with a clear stain. So we're going to walk through this process. And first, I sketched out the design. Now, I say sketched loosely because, well, maybe not loosely. I just say sketched, period. I'm not skillful in this area. But what I did from there was I took my crude sketching and I put it into Adobe Photoshop so that I could have clear, crisp lines, but also so that I could show it to my contractor so that they could have an idea of what I was trying to achieve. Now, the goal for this was to create a shelving unit that displayed some of my travel artifacts as well as my books, and to have a beautiful background for video calls, because we are now in a very, very, very digital world where backgrounds matter. All done. Here's the blank slate. I started with some paint, drop cloth, some angle brushes, an 18-inch brush, my drill, and a drop cloth. To prepare for painting, what I did was I removed fixtures, so outlet covers, things of that nature. I painted up areas where I didn't want it to be painted or where I wanted to create a barrier for the other wall or something I didn't want to paint. I put down the drop cloth and then I proceeded to trim the room. So trimming being just going through and going on the outside, I guess coloring the lines, if you will. Trimming or cutting out, it could be called two different things depending on who's saying it. Also, if you notice on this wall, whoever installed it or put up this drywall, initially there were some creases in the mud, so it was not finished seamlessly. I didn't really notice that until completely after the fact when looking at this video, but that's neither here nor there. The point of this project. Oh, Rubik's Cube time. As you can see, in between coats, to entertain myself, I tinkered with a little bit of Rubik's Cube and a little bit of music. For here, what I wish I would have done better was either picking a paint brand that had primer in it or priming the wall first. I had to do entirely too many coats. I don't remember how many coats I had to apply to the wall to properly cover it, because when you're changing colors, typically one color to the next, I think it's lighter to dark, it will bleed through, but you have to do that step, that primer step, which is essential. And I didn't do that, and I ended up being teamed too much. Next step was we went to get to some supplies. So we got our stain, we got our wood, we got our caulking and nails, and we got that from Lowe's. For the wood that we knew we couldn't cut at the house, we had it cut there. And thankfully, Lowe's has a space where they will take care of that for you. At the house, we created the braces. So first we went through and we cut through a lot of the wood that made sense, and we created the braces for the wall. So we did a lot of that first so that it would be easier to complete and put the braces on. As you can see, I utilized sticky notes to identify the general area where I wanted the shelves to be. And as you can see, we're centering this around this beautiful Moroccan plate. We affixed the braces to the studs, and as a bit of a cheat sheet, we used the wood on the other side to make sure that it was aligned from the left to the right, right to left. So we utilized those pieces of straight wood to make sure that the wood was aligned. We used a level, we used all those tools, but we used that as well. Once the braces were up, we attached the sides. So we put the sides, we put the tops, the bottoms, the sides, and then the fronts. Now, I've seen this done a couple different ways. Just looking at YouTube videos, some people put it together first, and then they found ways to affix it to the wall. But this is the method that we chose for this particular project. The gentleman helping me in this is Mr. Tony, Anthony Gordon. He is a contractor. He's been doing this probably for longer than I've been alive. He and I met at church where I play the drums and he plays the bass. Next, we knocked out the sanding. So it sanded all the uneven spots, the imperfections, and the markings on the wood so we can have a nice, pretty piece of furniture that is affixed to the wall. Once he did that, he then took a wet piece of cloth to collect some of the dust that came up from sanding. Then he went through and did some wood filling. So he filled the wood, he used some caulking, he used some wood putty to cover up the nails, but also to find ways to seal it to make sure that we had a nice, good-looking finished product. And there it is. This is before the stain. This is after the stain. And this is when we realized that the nails shone through and we had to revisit that piece. And this was the finished product without things on it, without being cleaned up. This is done. So we went from this to, well, this. We took this to this to this to this and then this. This was all really an idea, quite literally an idea. The before and the after. I'm really proud of this project. But thank you for tuning in and watching this randomness. I will be creating more projects and I'll be sharing it with you because I am the queen of random and I feel like there's lots of missed opportunities that will no longer be missed. But thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me, Dr. LaToya René, and you are achieving with ADHD.